Kadosh Erev Tov. We're going to speak about tonight in the Mishmar. We're going to speak about the sinah of Amalek, the hatred of Amalek towards us. Why exactly do they hate us? And are we allowed to come and receive gerim from them or not? So in this Mishmar, we're going to speak about the nation of Amalek that they launched a vicious attack against Hashem and his people. Is there anything that causes him to hate us so much, or does he just hate for the sake of hating? Then again, does it really matter or not? What do we really care if he actually did hate or not hate? Also, we know that usually the children, they get everything from their parents. Right? That's the Mishnah, the end of Sukkah. Everyone remembers with Bilga. Everyone remembers Bilga. Right? Oh. Bilga. Bilga, they went and he was an Av of the Kohanim, and they went and they put in his ring. So they couldn't use his ring in order to come and do shechita. And their kabi, they locked it up. Why did they do that? Because his daughter, when the Greeks came into the Bet HaMikdash, she went and she got married to a Greek lieutenant, and she started kicking the Mizbeach. And she started saying, locus, locus, right? Lucas, Lucas. Until when are you going to destroy the money to eat, to devour the money of Israel? So they went and they said that, how could it be the daughter of one of these big top Kohanim are coming and saying such a thing? So they went and they punished, right, the father. And therefore, since he was the Av, he was the one in the head, even though there were 24 Mishmarot, their ring was all the way down in the ground. They couldn't use a ring. They always had to ask somebody else. Can we use one of your rings? Can we use one of the... Always. They weren't able to do anything. So if we know, was there something influenced of Amalek that they hated it so much? Meaning, did it come from the parents? Where did it come from? Why does Amalek hate us so much? Next, right? There's a person's grandmother, every single year she comes to listen to Parashat Zachor, and all she talks about afterwards is how the Nazis came and how they were, that they should never buy German cars or appliances. She definitely means well, but does it really have to do with hating Amalek? Or is it just a distraction from the real mitzvah? Okay, that's another question. Third one, a group of yeshiva bachurim. They are having a late night shmooze in the dormitory, and they're talking about what would they do if they were sent back to Berlin in 1938, and they saw Hitler, Yimach Shemo v'zichro. While everyone was laying out the details of the grand plans for the assassination, one of them came and he said, you know what? I would want to do it in a way that I have to make a bracha before he dies. Yeah. So they went and they said, what? You want to make a bracha before you kill him? Well, what bracha? Al Michyat Amalek, Shechianu. So he said, no. I was thinking of Shechianu, that you're going to come, you're going to kill.
It's a way to talk.
It's a way to talk, that you're happy that you're killing Amalek. So he comes and he says, you know what it was? Shechilek mikvodo lebasar v'dam. When you see a king, you're supposed to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu came and he gave over his kavod to his power to human beings. He was like a real king, He said, what? Are you crazy? But they start screaming, who's right? Another question. A bedin for gerut. They're approached by an earnest young man that he wants to convert to Judaism. He seems very, very sincere, but his pale blue eyes, you're listening, pale blue eyes, and his sandy blonde hair and prominent cheekbones scare the Dayanim just a bit. A few questions about his family background confirm their words fears. A pure-blooded Aryan whose grandfather fought for the fatherland. Yeah? So he says, but he was told that he only fought on the eastern front. He was only on the other side, yeah? Should they accept him as a get or not? And the last question, is it really true that the Germans are Amalek or not? The Nazis, right? Are they Amalek or not? That's the questions that we're going to speak about tonight. So now we're going to start the shiur. We're going to speak about the mitzvah of remembering Amalek and their ideology. And we're going to speak about what exactly do we know in Amalek. Do we know, if you take the Abu Daham, look in your notes, what I just sent you, and you have Abu Daham. The Abu Daham comes and he says, I sent it on your phones. On your phones, you have Abu Daham. Abu Daham comes and he says, Tiknu bivricha zo shisha leshonot. Are you guys listening? It says, right? Harav et rivenu, v'adan et dinenu, v'anokem nikmatenu, v'amshalem gimul l'choyo v'enashenu, v'nifralanu pe'erenu. Right? So look how many different leshonot. Says Abu Daham, why do we make these brachot? This is after the Megillah. Rabbi David Abu Daham. Right? If you pay attention, after the Megillah, we're going to say many brachot. I'm on this page, guys, where it says here and it says Abu Daham. Abu Darham. So when it says Abu Darham, if you look towards the bottom, it says Omrim shetiknu bracha zo shisha leshonot keneged shisha miYisrael shenilchamu ba'Amalek. There were 6 people that fought against Amalek. Harav et rivenu Yoshua bin Nun. Shneimar vayachlo shel Yoshua et Amalek v'tamo lefi charev. Hadan et dinenu Ehud ben Gerai Mini, that he killed Eglon melech Moab. Right? V'uchtiv vayakem Hashem leMoshiach Tehu ben Gera. Hanokem nikmatenu Gidon. Shneimar sham, that it says there v'chol b'yam Amalek u'nekedem nesu yachtav. V'anifralanu mitzanenu Shaul. That Shaul HaMelech came to fight against Amalek. V'amshalem gemul u'choyer v'enashenu David. Shneimar sham v'amalekim pashtu eneged v'tziklag. V'nifral Amon kol yisem keneged. He comes and he says, Mordechai ve'Esther, Ha'el HaMoshiach, HaMelech HaMashiach. So you see from here, David, this is for you, that HaMelech HaMashiach is also going to fight against Amalek. So 6 leshonot to come to teach you that in every single generation you're going to come and you're going to have Amalek, that they're going to come to fight against us. And therefore, when we come and we say, this is not just an act because of what they did. Imagine right now, somebody comes and they do something bad to you. So you're going to say, you know what? I don't want to talk to them. Why? This guy didn't do something bad. Yeah, okay, fine. But his grandchild, can you talk to your grandchild? And say, listen, the grandchild, 1 minute, right? The grandchild, maybe he's a good guy. But if you see that this guy has a track record, every generation, one after another, it continues going against Hashem. And Milchama Hashem ba'Amalek midor dor. Every generation, he's coming against Hashem. He's making a fight against Hashem. He's coming to. So then you're going to say, hey, one second here. So something wrong. So that's why, right? Abu Daham comes and he says, Haravat Rivenu and so on and so forth is to teach us the different languages. Now we have Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch. We know Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch was in Germany. And here you have it, Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch. Right? It says, if ever you forgot your calling as Israel and your mission is Israel in the world, and you feel envious, and the royal wreaths which a deluded world weaves to crown the memory of successful victories, records of human happiness, and forgets the tear-soaked soil out of which the laurel grew for such wreaths. Forget this not, when you yourself have to suffer under Amalek's eagerness and power. Keep upright. Keep your humaneness and respect for that which is right, even as your God has taught you. That is where you have the humaneness and justice will remain the victories over the brutal force. And you yourself are sent to proclaim that victory and the future by your faith and example, and to be a co-worker in bringing it out. So you see from here that also Rosh Shimshon Hirsch, right, also clearly explains the reminder of Amalek's actions as lessons for engagement with modern day Amalek as well. Meaning Amalek was not just once upon a time. Amalek comes every generation. Every generation comes Amalek. Now, one second, TikTok. So he comes and he says like this. Why exactly then, right? Why do they hate us? Why do they hate us? So he comes and he says, listen to the Sefer Tzror Amor. Tzror Amor was of a rabbi, a Sephardic rabbi, that he had a whole bunch of midrashim. And he wrote a Sefer called Tzror Amor on all these midrashim. And he says like this is on this page, again, the same page, Sibat Amalek. On the top left. V'sibat sinat Amalek amru b'midrash. It says in the midrash, and it's also going to be a Gemara. Shehi b'sibat sabat timna achot Lotan. It's Timna. She was the sister of Lotan. Shechazra leidabek bezaro shel Abraham. She wanted to cling to Avraham Avinu, and nobody accepted her. When she saw that nobody accepted her, she became a pilegesh to Eliphaz, the son of Esav. And in order to cling to at least Avraham Avinu. And she had Amalek. She told Amalek how they rejected her. and she commanded her son with a cherem. She commanded her child. She embedded it in her child. That forever, for eternity, they will have hatred towards the Jews because they rejected her. They didn't accept her.
Who did?
And the Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And therefore, Amalek came and they came to fight. And the next one also, there's another explanation. Do you know that Yaakov Avinu, he took what? He took the berachot from who? Who did he take the berachot from? From Esav. So what happens? He comes, what was the beracha of Yitzchak? And what's going to happen with Yaakov? He's going to get Eretz Yisrael. The second that he saw that the Jews were leaving Mitzrayim to go to Eretz Yisrael, what does he do? He wants to come and he wants to fight. So that way they don't get the berachot. That's not pashtut. Why did they come exactly right now in order to make the fight? Now the Gemara in Sanhedrin, it's in the middle over there. The Gemara in Sanhedrin says, Tanu Rabbanan, Sanhedrin Tzadik Tet. Right? Tanu Rabbanan, Nefesh Shtas Rabbi Adarma, Zeh Menashe ben Chizkiyahu, that he was Yosef Doresh HaGadol shel Dofi, Amar v'chi lo yal Moshe lichtov elevachot loton timna v'timna et hapileg elipaz. So why is he writing all these things then? So he comes and he says like this. He says, Amar Rav Yasi, he comes and he says, what does this mean? We're talking about the Yetzer Hara. Fine. Now he comes and he says like this. What does it mean now? Right? Right? He comes and he says like this. Datan alamiat achot lotan timna, mahi, timna bat melachim avai. Timna was actually a princess. She was bat melachim. Tichtiv aluf lotan, aluf timna. V'chol aluf, anytime when it's written aluf, malchuta. Right? It was kings. So he comes and he says, right? Somebody's bar mitzvah parasha, yeah? So he says, right? So she wanted to come and she wanted to convert. Bata etzel Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. She came to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, right? Velo kibluha. They didn't accept her. They didn't accept her to become a gioret. Right? She went and she became a pilegesh lelifaz. Why? He says, Benesav, Amra, she said, Mutav te shivcha leuma zo velo te gevira leuma acheret. It's better that I should be a shivcha, a maidservant to this powerful nation than to come and to be a queen or a princess in this nation. Nafak mina Amalek. Amalek came from her. It's Ayina li Israel. Right? That he's going to cause Israel to come and to suffer. My tama, what's the reasoning? Because they shouldn't have distanced her. Which means, why exactly did they distance her? That we don't know. But we learn from here that where does this hatred come from? This hatred doesn't come to Stam, Esav Sonet Yaakov.
We started it?
It was rather because the fact that we pushed her away and we didn't accept her into our nation. Why? We don't know. Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they had the reason. Sure, they had the reason. Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, all three of them, they all rejected her. But the fact that what happened was she comes and she embedded in her child, you always have to have hatred to the Jewish nation. So now he comes and he says, right?
If she acts like that.
Okay, you're right. How do we see that? Where do we learn that? What the doctor just said was geonut. It was genius. How do we see that?
I didn't know what he said.
Eliezer Eved Abraham. Eliezer Eved Abraham. She said, you know what the biggest proof that they should have rejected her? What was her outcome? What did she do afterwards? Right? What was the fruits? Why? If right now you come and you ask Hashem, I want $1 million, and he doesn't give it to you, what are you going to do? You're going to kick? You're going to kick Hashem? Because he didn't give you the $1 million. No. Eliezer Eved Abraham, he went and he told Avraham Avinu, right, listen, I'm serving you for all my life. I have a daughter. You have Yitzchak. Let's do a shidduch. What does Avraham Avinu say?
No.
I never. No.
He didn't quit.
Not only did he not quit, what did he do? He went the other way around. No, he already converted. He already converted.
No, he went to find the rest.
He went the other way around. He went out of his way to do good to Avraham Avinu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and he says, if you go out of your way to do the exact opposite, and you didn't take it the negative way, and you went, now Gam Baruch Yeh, now you became Baruch. Beforehand, you were Arur. Because if you remember when we gave the shiur, Arur means that you always take for yourself. Now you became a baruch. What is a baruch? You always give.
He was an Eved.
That means even though he was an Eved, afterwards he became, and he was able to be Zocher to go into Gan Eden Chai. But why? Because of his reaction. The reaction is what it is. It's not what happens. Meaning, if you're going to come, imagine right now you ask your Papa, can I have a car? And he comes and he says no. So now what are you going to do? You're going to kick him? Or are you going to say, okay, I accept. Whatever Papa says. Right? Al Abba. Lo shoalim shelot. We don't ask questions on Abba. Yeah? Never heard the song? No? Okay. So you don't ask. 1 second. So now what happens? So the concept is that the way that she acted afterwards, you see, that was the best reason Bemet not to accept it. So now what happens? So now comes here and he says, this was the bad chinuch of Timnah to her son. And it didn't only work from the mother, it worked from the father. Why? Think about the distorted views of Amalek. The distorted views of Amalek was, where did Amalek come from? Eliphaz. What was Eliphaz? I have to do kibud avayim. What's my kibud avayim? My father sends me to kill. I'm going to go kill.
Okay.
What? You're going to kill your uncle? You know that it's wrong, right? 1 second, please, everyone. If you guys let me talk for 10 minutes, you'll have all your answers already answered before I even have to answer. But just please give me 10 minutes, right? So therefore, right, write it down. Yeah. So therefore, what happens? What happens is that a person just has to understand Eliphaz had a distorted kibud avayim, just like Esav. Esav, he did kibud avayim, yeah, he did the best kibud avayim, but it was distorted. Why? He's going to kill Yaakov. That's going to cause him to suffer. Doesn't matter. He doesn't care. It's all superficial. It's all the outside. So what happens? He comes and he says, you see from here that the kibud avayim that was done is like this. Now you can understand what happened, right, with the Nazis. What do the Nazis do? They come and they're killing. And what are they doing? No, you're supposed to. This is something good. Do you know something I never knew? Listen to this. When they came and they made the concentration camps to go into the gas chambers, you know what they did? I never heard of this. I just found this out. Right? The shiur, as a big rabbi gave it over, and I saw it and I said, I have to give over the shiur. This is incredible. Genius. He said they put parochets. What's usually many times written on the parochet? A parochet is written, Ze Shara Shamayim. These are the gates of heaven. They wanted that when they're going in, walking through the corridors, going inside towards the gas chambers, they're saying, Kilu, you guys are going in Shara Shamayim. You're going now to the gates of heaven. You're going to heaven now. But what are they doing? They're coming and they're doing heinous acts, terrible acts. And what are they doing? They're coming and they're saying, Kilu, everything's good. Everything's good. What we're doing is, this is good. It's kosher. We're very smart. We're not animals. No. We're intellects. We're very high up. What? It's not a human being. Because once you come and you take a human being's mind, now that's it. You could kill, you could do whatever you want. You could justify anything that you want. With anything that you want. With everything. With music, with everything. So he comes and he says, right, now, okay, fine. It went so deep into them. So now what? Is there a tikva for them? Can they actually do anything? Can they convert? Can they get out of it?
Was not
right?
asked.
So, can they convert? Let's ask that. Can Amalek? So it says over here, the Mechilta. Im aniach nin v'nechel Amalek. If I'm going to leave a remnants to Amalek, a nin v'nechet, whether we're talking about a grandchild or a great-grandchild, Rabbi Eliezer omer, nishba hamakom bekisei hakavod. HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore with the kisei hakavod shelo, shim yavo mikol ha'umot, that if any nation comes, shikabluhu. Yeah, they should accept them. Ulamalek ulbeto lo yikabluhu. But Amalek in his house, they should not accept them. Shneimar says the pasuk, Vayomer David lenar, Amagid lo. It means that, where are you coming from? Vayomer ben ish ger Amaleki anochi. I come from ben ish ben Amaleki. Nizkar leDavid beota hasha'ah ma she'amar Moshe Rabbeinu. You remember what it said in Moshe Rabbeinu? Im yavo mikol ha'amot she'ba'olam litgayer, shikablu, that they should accept them. Umibeto sheyikablu, miyav vayomer elav David, damecha lo shecha. Your blood is on your head. They do not accept them. During the time of the Milchamo be David, they didn't accept them. That is the Mechilta. Who argues? The Rambam. Halakha l'maaseh. Rambam on the top. No, Kulam. Halakha l'maaseh. Shulchan Aruch. Says the Rambam. V'im lo yishlimu. We're talking about that right now, when you go out to war, before going out to war, you're going to tell them Shalom. If they tell you Shalom,
try to make peace.
right? You try to make peace. If they accept, they accept. Once they accept, they have to accept Sheva Mitzvot Ben Noach. They accept to become like, paying taxes, like slaves. Okay. They don't accept Kaddish. You go for the kill. Yeah, you come and you do war. Says, Im lo yishlimu, or shishlimu, but they didn't accept Sheva Mitzvot. Osim milchama. You do war. Ve'orgin kol hazecharim ha'gedolim. You kill out all the males. Ubozezin kol mamona v'tapam. You take their money and their children. Ve'en orgim ishav lo katan. You're not going to kill the women and children. Shneimer v'nashim v'atav. Zetav shel zecharim. But med v'nimunim, one of these talking about milchemet reshut, which are with other nations. Aval shiva amamin. But the 7 nations of Israel and Amalek, shelo yishlimu, that they didn't do peace with you, and manichim en neshama, you don't leave anybody behind. You kill everybody, right? What does that mean? Because it says, "Ken ta'aseh lechol ha'arim, rak me'arei ha'amim lo techiyeh kol neshama." The Rambam. V'chen hu omer ba'Amalek, timchet ze menach Amalek. Minayin she'eno medaber ela be'elu shelo yishlim. How do we know? So he says, in the concept also of that they took everything from the milchama. So therefore, there is a the Rambam here says this. The Ravad comes and he says, I don't understand. He says, no, maybe it's talking about that they didn't accept it. That's when you're going to kill them, right? He says, what? They came, they accepted the mitzvot, and that's it. So here he comes and he says, right? Aval shiva amamin v'amalek katav Ravad ze shibush ela sheyachol lomar ishlimu lekabel mitzvot. So the reason why is because even though they came and they wanted to accept it, you would still kill them. But he comes and he says, no, really, be'emet, if they accepted upon themselves Sheva Mitzvot Ben Noach, they are not anymore the Shiva, Amamin, and Amalek. Rather, they're like Ben Noach HaKsherim. Meaning it comes out that according to what the Kesef Mishnah is Maran, the Shulchan Aruch. He comes and he says, in Shitat Rambam, it comes out that if you come and you accept, one more time, you're coming, and the Goy, which is Amalek, accepts upon himself Sheva Mitzvot Ben Noach. Now he's like Ben Noach. Now he's Ben Noach. Now he's kosher. So since he's kosher, there's no problem whatsoever. So he's considered like Ben Noach HaKsherim. So now he's like Ben Noach HaKsherim. That's what we're saying. But technically speaking, that means you're accepting Gerut from him. Yeah. So therefore, he comes and he says, where does the Rambam? Again, he is Amalek, and now he becomes like Ben Noach HaKsherim.
So he's not more Amalek, and then we accept him.
No.
Let's say he has a gene Amalek. On the gene.
No, he's not Amalek. He was born Amalek. He was born Amalek. You're right. Now, Nachon, you're too, yeah. Yeah, so he comes and he says this. So he says, what happens is that now when all of a sudden he's going to convert, it's like a tinok shenolad dami. That's what he's trying to. No, not tinok shenishvat. Tinok shenolad dami. He's like a new creation, and therefore, since he's a new creation, that's why we're going to let him live. But it comes out whether he's going to accept upon himself Sheva Mitzvot Ben Noach or not. Now, how do you know this? Because they say that b'nei banav shel Haman harasha lamdu Torah b'nei Brak. So that's a proof that if you're going to tell me now that the children of Haman harasha were learning Torah and b'nei Brak, it means obviously they converted, and obviously they were accepted. So therefore, if somebody's going to ask you, so therefore you see that if right now they were accepted, it means that you're allowed to accept. That means even though there is a mechinta, the mechinta says don't accept them. But technically speaking, there was, whether it's going to be the Rambam, it's a Mishnah and others, that you are going to come and you're going to accept them. So one more time, the questions that we asked at the beginning, right? One more time, what were the questions that we asked at the beginning? We went and we said, was the hatred something that was for generations or it was one time for generations? Where did it come from? From the parents? Yes, it came from the mother and the father downwards, and it continued going for generations. We said, yeah, we came and we said, right, if right now you're going to come and you're going to say about the German cars, we'll speak about it in 2 minutes. What about the yeshiva bachurim? They come and they say, okay, fine. We have a plan that we're going to assassinate Hitler. What would you do? So everyone's coming, they're all speaking. What are we going to do? Should we do? You know what? I want to make a bracha. So he said, which bracha are you going to make? You make bracha al mechiyat Amalek? You just obliterated Amalek. What, Shechianu? What bracha are you going to make? No, He says, "Shechilek mikudo lebasar adam." When you come and you see a king, you're supposed to make a bracha that he gave over his kavod to basar adam. So therefore, what happens is it's a bracha. It's a bracha. So therefore, he comes and he says he was a king. So you're not going to make a bracha? For sure, you make a bracha. He said, "What are you talking about? You crazy?" Listen to this. Rav Yosef Chaim Zannenfeld. Go to the notes that I just sent you. Rav Yosef Chaim Zannenfeld. He comes and he says, it's on the bottom right. Sefer Marad Arad Israel. Over there it says, Pam achad davka kasher yatsu kol bnei hayishuv hayerushalmi. There was somebody that was called Kaiser Wilhelm from Germany, that he came, right, to visit Yerushalayim. And Wilhelm Kaiser. How many years ago is this? We're in Tafshin Pei. It's Tafresh Nun. So we're talking about this is talking about 657. 657, and we are in 657. 657 minus Tafshin Pei. We're 5785. 783. 126 years ago. So 126 years ago, right? You guys paying attention? 126 years ago. So they went, and all of the people of Yerushalayim went out to make the bracha. And it's a bracha, the Gemara brachot, Numchet Amud Aleph. לעולם יצא אדם לקראת מלכי אומות העולם, ולא לקרא מלכי ישראל בלבד, אלא אפילו לקרא מלכי הוקום. Not only to go out towards the Jewish kings, even the non-Jewish kings. Because then you're going to come and you're going to be zocheh to see the real Jewish kings. What happened was, he didn't go out of his house. And he came and he started learning and didn't want to go out of his house. So they went and they said, what's going on? All the Jews are going out. There's a king. Go say the bracha. He went and he said, right? He says, Hamemshala Turkit, it was a Turkish in Yerushalayim. They all went out, right? And, big kavod and everything. They went by Shar Yafo. Zikri Yerushalayim were saying that when he came, it was on Yom HaShabbat Parashat Vayera. There were men, children, everyone. Every Jew was there. They all prayed nets. At least they did something good. Yeah? They all prayed nets. Rabbeinu haya yechidi shenishar bebeto. He was the only one that he stayed in his house. So they asked him. They said, Rabbi Yosef Chaim, he was the Gadol Ador in the. Why are you staying in your house? He answered from the Gaon. The Gaon says that the Germans are considered like Amalek, or Safek Amalek. And therefore, the beracha that you make is on every nation except for Amalek. Except for Amalek. And therefore, you do not make the beracha. So therefore, this Bachur Yeshiva that he comes and he says, you know what? I'm planning to assassinate him, but I want to make the bracha first. No. You don't make a bracha on that. Now, where does the Gaon say this? The Gaon says there's a famous Gemara in Mesechet Megillah. The Gemara Mesechet Megillah says that we're talking about over there, right? Let me get you the Gemara. It's incredible. There's the Gemara. The Amar Rabbi Yitzchak says Rabbi Yitzchak. What does it mean in the pasuk? Al titen Hashem avayer rasha zamol tafok kerum utzela. Amar Yaakov lifnei Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Says Yaakov Avinu in front of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Ribono shel olam, Master of the universe. Al titen le'esav rasha tava libo. Don't give Esav rasha whatever he wants. Zemamo al tafek. Right? He's going to come. He's going to damage. Zu Germania shel Edom. Germania shel Edom. In Hagaot Agra, he's Gores Germania, not Germania, Germania. Like the Targum, Yonatan, Targum Yerushalmi and Bereshit, that according to him, it's Germania Viamenu. And that's why they come and they say that is Germany. Shilmaleh hen yotzim, but if they would go out to war, Machrivim kol haolam kulo, they would destroy the entire world. And it continues going, talking about that. So says the Gaon of Vilna, Germania is Amalek. And that's even until today. So therefore, right, just to understand, right, this concept, I'll finish off with a beautiful email, right, that Rabbi Selfer went and he told over. He went and he visited, right? He went and he visited. Yeah. He came and he said like this. he went and he visited Munich. Are you listening? He came and he visited, and he was told by a German tour guide that immediately after the war, the USA was concerned that the Russians would make turn Germany into a communist country, since it was completely in chaos. So they told everyone to go back to their jobs and their lives that there was before the war. And therefore, this would put Germany back on track to run like before. This meant that basically all the Nazis, the Gestapo and everybody, they were basically pardoned. In fact, from all the Nuremberg trials, only a handful were killed or even served prison sentences of more than a few months, even having been sentenced to much longer terms. From the original group of Nazis who drafted the final solution at the Wannsee Conference Center outside of Berlin in 1942, a number of them lived out their regular lives until the 1990s in Berlin. I was quite surprised to learn this. I saw a number of things in Munich which corroborated this, and a lot became clear. I was just recently in Berlin, and the tour guide who took us around looks very, very frum, and she was very knowledgeable. I thought she had been in seminary student for years, but then she said that she hadn't. My wife picked up she was actually a Gioret, who had married an Israeli man who had moved to Germany, and she later explained that she was becoming frum so she could be buried in a Jewish cemetery with her husband rather than with her family, who had been Nazis. She didn't want to talk about it. She met another man. He met another man over there in Munich from Yom HaShoah at the shul in the Jewish Community Center, who had become Jewish when he realized that his parents had been Nazis and they hid what they had done from him. Shh. Right? They hid what they had done to him. What had happened? What happened was that afterwards they came and he caught afterwards in the attic that he had photographs, Nazi uniforms in the attic with everything, right? With Hitler, with everything. That's what. So he went to he was a teenager. He went and told his parents, what's this? So they said, no, you don't understand what was going on in those days. He picked up and he moved to Israel as a teenager. He became a get, and he actually married a Jewish girl, and all his children and grandchildren are from. He brought them back to his parents and he told them, you guys were trying to kill your own grandchildren. Look what the guy did. The guy realized what his parents did, and he went and did that. Then he learned something, and this is what Baba Haki was asking before. Every German company, big or small, had their own concentration camp where they had free employees. They paid the Nazis to operate the camps. Every day, the workers would have to walk through the streets together to and from their employment. Some companies gave their employees even extra food so they could get better work out of them. There were tens of thousands of inmates walking around early in the morning and late at night. There were tens of thousands concentration camps, fewer work camps where prisoners actually worked, and even fewer were death camps. Dacha, where he visited, was a mix. BMW had thousands of workers living there, and they walked over 10 miles, going and coming in each direction every day, 7 days a week. And there are many, many car companies that they all did the same thing. Every company, they did it. Every single one.
But they converted.
So one more time, a summary of the shiur that we had until today. We wanted to find about the entire concept of Amalek. Where did the hatred come from that it's so deep? So we brought down the hatred was because in every single generation, it's embedded in them to go against the Jewish nation. That came, where did it come from? From the parents, from Timnah, that she was rejected, and from Eliphaz, the way it was distorted, Kibud Avaim. Then we came and we said, okay, fine, this is what they did. Is there hope for them? Can they convert? We answered, according to Mechilta, no. According to the Rambam and all the rest, yes, they could convert. Once they convert, it's like a Tinok Shenolad Dami. They're allowed to come back and there's no problem whatsoever. The next one we learned, okay, fine. If you had the opportunity right now to come and to kill Hitler, would you do so? So everyone's saying, of course we will do so, but how do you do it? They're going, one of the boys said, you know what, I'm going to make a beracha. So which beracha? Mechiyat Amalek? Nah. We learned from Yosef Chaim Zannenfeld that he said that since Germany is Amalek, you make the beracha of giving over for a king, the beracha only for regular kings, but not the kings of Amalek, and therefore you do not make a beracha on them. And the last halacha that we were speaking about, the entire concept of the gra, that nowadays that was the concept that Germany was Amalek, and therefore now we understand what happened in Germany, that they got away with everything. They got away with everything. How many of them were actually, even taken to things? Yeah, the majority of them, they lived all their lives. They did whatever they want, and they were able to do whatever they want. But again, why? because of what we mentioned. But that's the reason why they were against, whether it's getting all these things and everything that they did, because of the problems that they had right through Germany.